Hey folks, welcome to my channel Number Pen. So today we have an interesting problem on our screen. Limit of x tending to 1 cube root of 7 plus x cube minus square root of x square plus 3 divided by x minus 1, right? Now, unlike the earlier problems which we solved in my channel, this is not a case of straight rationalization. The reason being one is a cube root and the other is a square root. So you cannot solve it by simple direct rationalization. So I have already solved this problem, and let's look at it stepwise as to how I've solved this problem. Now, in these problems, right, you might want to look at solving these problems as two parts, right? And what I mean by solving this problem by two parts is, treat this part of the equation separately, right? And this part of the equation separately, right? And even if I'm going to break this into two parts, I don't think I can solve them in a very straightforward manner. So the way to solve this problem is to introduce a new number or a new factor that helps us, rationalize and solve this problem. And then this problem becomes a lot simpler than you actually think, right? So 7 plus x cube, the cube root of that, and I have x square plus 3 square root of that. So what I do in the subsequent step is I introduce a new factor called 2, right? So I rewrite the numerator as minus 2 plus 2, because 2 is a number that can be represented as cube root of 8, or it can be represented as a square root of 4, right? So what I do is I rewrite this equation as you see down here. This 2, right? Let me use the drop in. This 2 becomes cube root of 8, and this 2 becomes square root of 4. So all that I've done is done a minus 2 plus 2, which does not change the value of the entire equation f of x, and I've written 1 2 as, I mean, one what should I call it, I've written 2 as cube root of 8 for the purpose of solving this problem with the other expression, which is cube root of 7 plus x cube, and I've written the other 2 as square root of 4 in order to solve that, the second part of the problem, which is square root of x square plus 3, right? So now I've broken this into two parts, right? One is f1 of x, which is what you see I've highlighted in this sketch, which is f1 of x. Let me highlight this, and this is f2 of x, right? Which is this expression, and this is my other expression, which is f1 of x, right? So my limit is nothing but a summation of the individual limits, right? So, and when you look at this expressions in parts, which is my cube root part of the equation as f1 of x and my square root part of the equation as f2 of x, then the problem is a cakewalk, right? So let us write f1 of x separately and solve this problem, and let's see if we can solve this problem, right? So I'm going to go down and write this part of the equation, which is cube root of 7 plus x cube minus cube root of 8 divided by x minus 1, right? And I just want to make a small note out here which will come in handy for these type of problems, and let me see if I can write it here, right? Right, so let me do this. So I have a cube a cube minus of cube So this means, what is my a minus b? My a minus b is nothing but a cube minus b cube divided by a square plus b square plus ab, right? So if I treat my a as 7 plus x cube, I mean cube root of 7 plus x cube as my a, and if I'm going to treat my cube root of 8 as my b, right? Let me write this here, folks. If I'm going to treat this as my a, and if I'm going to treat this as my b, then this equation is can be expressed as a cube minus b cube divided by a square plus b square plus ab, right? So this is my a minus b, this is my a minus b, keep this x minus 1 in the denominator, park it aside for a minute, and I'm going to write this as a cube minus b cube divided by x a square plus b square plus ab, which is nothing but it's coming from this formula, right, which is a basic formula. So my a cube becomes cube root of 7 plus x cube the whole cube, which is what you see here. And similarly, I write my b cube as cube root of 8 the whole cube, which is nothing but 8, which is what I write here. So this expression becomes 7 plus x cube minus 8 divided by a square plus b square plus ab, right, which is nothing but my cube root of 7 plus x cube the whole square plus cube root of 8 the whole square plus ab, which is cube root of 7 plus x cube and a cube root of 8, which is nothing but this expression, right? Now you see, when I gonna rewrite this as 7 plus x cube minus 8, I'm left with x cube minus 1, which is nothing but it is x minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1, right? So I rewrite this again here. So this is x cube minus 1, and again use the same formula which we discussed here, a cube minus b cube. We are writing this as x minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1, which is nothing but this part of the expression, right? So all that I've done is written the same equation f1 of x in a slightly different format. Okay, that leaves us with x minus 1 into x square plus x plus 1 in the denominator, and x minus 1, which is the original x minus 1, into the a square plus ab plus b square expression, which is nothing but cube root of 7 plus x cube the whole square plus cube root of 8 the whole square plus cube root of 7 plus x cube into cube root of 8, right? So x minus 1 and x minus 1 gets cancelled here, and I'm left with a much simpler expression wherein I just substitute x equals 1, and my x square plus x plus 1 becomes, I mean, this part of the expression becomes uh, x square plus x plus 1 becomes 1 plus 1 plus 1. And when I'm going to do a substitution of x equals 1 in this denominator, right, then I'm left with cube root of 8 the whole square, which is the first part of the long expression in the denominator, plus cube root of 8 the whole square plus cube root of 8 into cube root of 8, which is this part of the expression, and I'm left with 3 times cube root of 8 the whole square in the denominator, right? So cube root of 8 is what? It's nothing but 2, right? So 2 square is nothing but 4. So I'm left with 3 in the numerator and 3 into 4 in the denominator, which is 3 by 12, which is nothing but 1 by 4. So this is my answer for f1 of x, right? Which is, I go up this part of it, right? Now we are left with f2, which is this part of the equation, which is what we will see below how to solve this, right? So I've written this here. So root of 4 minus root of x square plus 3 divided by x minus 1. Now this is a much simpler limits problem to solve, right? I apply a quick rationalization. I do into root of 4 plus root of x square plus 3 divided by root of 4 plus root of x square plus 3, right? So this is what you see. And I can rewrite my numerator using the formula a minus b into a plus b, which is nothing but this, right? Plus b, right? So I have a minus b here and I have a plus b here. So which leaves me with square root of 4 the whole square minus of square root of x square plus 3 the whole square. So all I've done is I've rewritten this in the next page. Let me see if I can expand this, right? Yeah. So square root of 4 the whole square minus square root of x square plus 3 the whole square is nothing but 4 minus the whole bracket of x square plus 3, right? Which is this equation, which I've highlighted in yellow. And that is nothing but minus x square plus 1, right? Which is this part of the expression. I'm going to use green. And for a minute, I keep the denominator as it is. I'm not really looking at what's happening to my denominator. And I have an opportunity to factor my numerator further, right? To cancel out the x minus 1 in the denominator. So 1 minus x square can be rewritten as 1 minus x into 1 plus x, right? And now I have my opportunity to cancel out x minus 1 in the denominator and the numerator, right? So I use this sketch and I cancel this x minus 1. I'm sorry. I cancel this x minus 1 in my numerator and the denominator, and I'm left with 1 plus x divided by square root of 4 plus square root of x square plus 3, right? Now all that I need to do is substitute x equals 1, right? So which I do it in front of which I do this, and for both the numerator and the denominator, and I'm left with 2 in the numerator, which is my 1 plus x, which is 1 plus 1, and square root of 4 plus square root of 4, which makes it 2 times square root of 4. And remember that I have this minus sign out here, so which is what I still retain, and I'm left with minus 1 by 2, because my square root of 4 is nothing but 2, right? So I've got the answer for both the limits, which is f2 of x and f1 of x. So f2 of x is minus half, and we did f1 of x, which is 1 by 4, which is here on our screen. And then all that I need to do is go back to my original expression and sum up these limits, right? So I've got 1 by 4, which is the answer to the first part of the problem, which is the cube root part of the problem. And then my f2 of x, the answer to that, which is the square root part of the problem, which is minus half. So minus half plus 1 by 4, which is nothing but minus 1 by 4 is the final answer to this particular problem, right? So I hope you found this video and the problem helpful. uh, Please feel free to write to me, or comment on the video. uh, I'm happy to take your comments and feedback. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a good day.